Coming up on today's wrestling news, Cody Rhodes injured.
The real reason Jacob Fatu debuted on SmackDown.
SmackDown's new creative boss has been revealed.
And there's a surprising TNA name backstage at Collision.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the after news. Right, let's just calm down a little bit.
I can't. I
saw the headline too. Cody Rhodes injured.
What?
I'm hoping it's just a work. Right, because he got destroyed by the Bloodline and their newest member, who we'll get onto, Jacob Fatu, in due course. Awesome show.
Good.
By the time this news goes out, we'll probably have recorded the SmackDown Review podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from. But Cody Rhodes revealed to a live show crowd that he is carrying an injury as a result of being, splashed through the announce table from the in the ring into the outside.
The Shane McMahon spot, but a million times better.
He was in Bloomington, Illinois, and he got on the mic after a win over Shinsuke Nakamura. Something's never changed.
It'd be a twist if he had lost it, wouldn't it?
Revealing he suffered 2 broken ribs from Jacob Fatu's attack. He said, "A little scoop for you, Bloomington. Last night I did break 2 of my ribs. The thought was, you can take off Bloomington, you can take off Kalamazoo, you can even take off next Friday, where the story began in 1978, New York City." And my answer to that was emphatically 100% hell no. So he's fighting through the pain as a man who got hit by a go-kart last weekend and is still suffering from rib injuries. I can relate to this sort of thing. Basically the same.
Well, you got it out. You didn't miss any dates.
Exactly.
You made all the towns.
Call me the Cody Rhodes of what culture.
They do.
I'm going to get a neck tattoo. No. Yeah, it strikes me as one of those where he's going to have taped up ribs on telly going forward, a target almost. He's drawn a target on his back for, presumably some trios match at Money in the Bank.
It's just another American Nightmare tattoo.
But it doesn't sound like this is one of those, is he going to have to vacate the title sort of things?
No. And look, if it's a work completely, fair play, Cody, you got us and you got that crowd and you've helped sell the story. And here we are talking about next week's SmackDown, having barely just talked about this week's one. So work is going to work, it's good stuff. But Cody, as we've seen in horrific fashion, has worked through injuries in the past. So
I've had worse.
This is a man that is has no problem posting that calendar. Terrifying, actually, of the towns he expects to make while WWE champion. He wants to live every bit of the dream. He wants to finish the story and continuing it on kind of thing.
Best.
I got a bit of a prediction for this week's SmackDown as a result. I think we know about this now because it's going to matter on Friday. SmackDown, of course, emanates from WWE's spiritual home, the Mecca. Madison Square Garden. And Cody just dropping in here that it was in 1978 when the story started. For those that have forgotten, that was the exact building where the belt was ripped away from Dusty Rhodes. I think the Bloodline are going to do the same on Friday. I think they're going to steal it. I think Cody Rhodes down, selling the ribs again. The alliance of baby faces. It's all gone very Raw 2023 all of a sudden. All the goodies are back together against the baddies the way it should be. I think they're going to nick the belt.
I really like that as a pitch.
Jacob's just going to have it and sort of, what are you doing? Actually, I'll have that. Thanks very much. And they're keeping him in check, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all building, one would assume, to Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam
Seems
now.
That way, yeah. Seems that way.
The Randy Orton match presumably being put on the back burner for the time being.
Got 50 different matches to get to at the moment. So.
But yes, I think the rib injury probably is injured somewhat. You're getting splashed by bloody Jacob Fatu. It's not going to be a walk in the park.
Wrestlers are always working hurt, aren't we? That's the crack.
But yes, we'll keep you posted on this, but don't worry for the time being.
Yeah. Or do, because there's a werewolf on the loose. Did you see SmackDown on Friday? Jesus Christ. Jacob Fatu, of course, debuted. It was
my God.
Incredible, as Wilborn says. As you're watching this, we've already spoken about it. Wherever you get your podcasts or on the What Culture Podcast YouTube channel. But yes, for those that missed it, he arrived as the Bloodline sort of secret weapon. Solo Sikoa set the baby faces up to all be assaulted. That being Cody, Randy and Kevin Owens, including the incredible table bump. He decked all of them, basically. But this debut has been months in the making now. Fight for Select came through the report and said, quote, Fatu has been signed to WWE for months and was backstage at WrestleMania and around WrestleMania weekend. We being Fight for Select, had never been given firm debut plans, but were given an implied reason as to what taken so long. They go on to build on some comments that were made on recent Fight for podcasts that Jacob Fatu had never wrestled outside of America before. MLW sources had noted that this could have been because of a criminal record when he was much younger. younger. This is, of course, much in Jacob Fatu's past now.
Yes.
Nothing that's happened while he's been a full-time professional wrestler. The report goes on to add, however, it was noted that this had prevented him from accepting bookings outside of America, and we're not sure if that's the case going to be moving forward. Obviously, with all the international PLEs that WWE run now, this is a big decision they need to make if he's going to become a push commodity. But the report does go on to say, in the past, his history was a primary reason he'd not been hired. However, we're told WWE's newer regime had long been interested in Fatu. There was also, went on to say, he made really great impressions in the time that he was waiting patiently to make his debut. So obviously,
we all assumed it was going to be Backlash France.
Well, there was Backlash France.
There was Tangaloa showed up.
Yeah, and there was Clash at the Castle where the Bloodline arrived to deck this new babyface alliance, and he worked neither of them. Again, any international shows, of which there are now loads.
Yeah.
The speculation was high, but then tempered with the, but can he? So that might be a little bit up in the air, but SmackDown in Chicago was deemed the best destination for it. And it was yet another hot night in what WWE have often considered one of their very hottest buildings. So it's kind of the opposite of killing the town, isn't it? You want to kind of maintain it, this latest
killing
run.
CM Punk.
Yeah, I would say the Allstate can lay claim to one of the hottest moments of 2023 and the hottest Raw and SmackDown of 2024. They know how to preserve that market for the big nights.
Yeah, absolutely. Would 100% agree. Love the arrival of Jacob Fatu. Very excited to see what happens next with the Bloodline. It's almost like when I said we should let it play out with this new Bloodline 2.0 faction. I was tired of being correct yet again.
Bloodline are the ones, but he's the only real one in the game. Don't forget that.
The only real journalist in the game. Never forget that. Anyway, sorry. Let's stick with SmackDown though and talk about the
werewolf let loose in the studios.
The new creative boss of SmackDown.
Yeah. Good time to be acknowledged as this guy, isn't it?
John Swicata, we going with?
Maybe.
Sean Ross Sapp has learned, Fightful have learned that, John Swicata, long-term WWE creative writer, he's now the lead writer on SmackDown. He's taken the place of Ryan Callahan, who's parted ways with WWE. Not much known about Swicata, aside from this one random Road Dogg tweet he was referenced in 10 years ago or something. But they've been told, Fightful have, he's been with the company for years, and a number of former writers reached out to Fightful after the article was published to say he's been a well-liked member of the team, and he's already made a huge impact, pointing directly to what we saw on Friday's show. If that is a taste of John Swicata's SmackDown, give me a whole load more.
This doesn't feel an accident to me. We talk a lot these days about the stories that get out and PR and Legenda.
Yes.
That we know this name, whilst SmackDown is getting, in my opinion, rightful critical acclaim and praise, doesn't feel like an accident, does it? We've often talked for years about WWE not having credits, and it probably should.
Yeah.
It takes an army, the crew that we never know any of the names of that even put all the production element of it together, let alone the people that are behind in the creative engine room, Triple H takes the credit as much as he takes the grief, and whoever's in that hot seat does. So I'm all for hearing about these names. There's various names in the past, I guess, where you've heard that they've been responsible for certain eras of development, but it always does tend to fall to that one person at the very top, whether it was Vince McMahon, whether it's Tony Khan in AEW, whether it's Triple H. Both cuts both ways. They can take all the grief for it, but certainly after a week like that, it's not the daftest move to get a name out there as somebody that should feel now built up and be given substantial credit for the quality that we saw.
Yeah, it's been
on
trending in
episode.
that direction, hasn't it? But this certainly seemed like the best thing that they've done in a long time on Friday night. It's just going to be interesting to see how this product develops with him at the helm, because very, very exciting times. I actually, speaking of head writers, by the way, I caught up on Who Killed WCW over the weekend.
Right.
Watched episode 3, and it turns out it wasn't Vince Russo's fault. So
right.
Still yet to get to the bottom of Who Killed WCW.
Who clarified that for you?
That was Vince Russo.
Right, of course.
That man's never told a lie. John Swicata, one of those names you've never heard of, but by next April, it'll be on an Academy Award probably, so get used to it.
It's
Jennifer Lawrence. Oh, she's an Oscar winner now.
Thank you, John. I always think of from my youth, I think of Chris Kresge.
Yes.
I think of 2000, I think of him, the famous storyboarder, until somebody went in the room and said, storyboards, get out. And then the product went, woo, like that. So while the going's good, name the names, give the people the praise and all that sort of stuff. Do you want to hear of a surprising TNA name that was backstage at AEW Collision, We have spoken a lot.
Yes.
Well, yeah, all right. We've spoken a lot lately about the TNA WWE business relationship, I guess. The sort of overlaps between wrestlers on NXT. Joe Hendry, of course, made his appearance on NXT, and the wrestling world is still a buzz. Would you care to
Did you see his tweet over the weekend, by the way?
I don't know.
He said, "Oh, really hot wherever he was in the world. Really hot here today. Looks like we're going to have a heat wave."
Excuse me, a what?
Heat wave.
Thank you very much. So yeah, why don't you? We'll do it the old.
Matt Hardy.
No.
Jeff Hardy.
No. One more guess.
Nick Nemeth.
No. That would have been an interesting guess, obviously, for him appearing eventually for AEW's Imagining White Doom. No. Speedball Mike Bailey.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought you'd react like that.
Love him.
Collision was taped on Thursday, and he was, Fight for Select reported that he was backstage visiting friends.
Why did they put him on the show? It was rubbish.
I could have done with him, couldn't it? Welcome backstage, he's got a lot of
We're
friends.
reviewing it later. Probably out now, actually.
Well, there might be an answer to that question. Might not be as rhetorical as you think. Quote from the report: "We've not heard of any talks going beyond that, and Bailey is still under contract with TNA until the end of the year, so that's why officially, at least, you wouldn't hear any talks. We've heard that there has long been interest from a variety of companies in using Bailey. We reported this recently, he nearly signed with WWE a couple of years ago until changes in the hiring guidelines presented it. Bailey's had a up and down career with certain rules and regulations."
It's like, why wouldn't you sign him?
Yeah.
He's right there, he's mint.
Well,
we kind of brought him into this business. He definitely wasn't an established name beforehand, who we just utilised and put him in awesome matches.
That's it, yeah.
A WCPW legend!
Well, there's plenty of them kicking around at the moment, isn't there? So, yeah, he is certainly a favourite when the conversation comes up about this WWE NXT TNA in England, Bailey's name. Because why would it not? Why would it not come up all the time? So I guess per that, he's probably free to appear on WWE right now, but he wouldn't be, per his contract, free to work with AEW unless that was a working agreement. And can you imagine, by the way, if TNA suddenly, the puppet masters all along, had both number 1 and number 2 North American mainstream on strings and were like donating their talent to both shows?
I'd really think that'd be fun.
Seeing as mates for now, but never take Speedball out of the conversation.
Yeah, this is one of those things where sometimes we make a big deal in this business. We make a big deal out of some things, and it's just like they were just in town, and it went, "Oh yeah, where do we have to hang out? Are you working? I'll just pop over and have a coffee there then." That's
cool.
fine.
It's cool, isn't it?
It's awesome. Yeah. Mike Bailey's incredible. Obviously, I think he had like visa issues for a few years. That's why we were lucky enough to get him in WCPW, and he's working all the other different shows. Now, though, cleared obviously to work in the US.
He's kind of the real Mr. WrestleMania without working WrestleMania, isn't he? You'll catch Mike Bailey at about 17 shows over WrestleMania weekend.
Unbelievable if you've never seen him. I think he had a class match with Ospreay in London, I want to say, when we were doing the WCPW tour that was just jaw-dropping, and that was a tour that also saw like Ospreay versus Rey Mysterio. So that's the bar we're sort of heading towards. I think he'd be great. I mean, he's great in TNA already, but I think he'd also be great wherever he ends up if he does decide to do some stuff with AEW or hopefully with WWE with this new working relationship that they've got.
I saw him work a Bloodsport match and then 2 hours later fight Rob Van Dam in the ECW arena. Said like it was enough for us to like have to walk. I'm pretty bloody tired going to 2 shows and like bumping and working really hard in matches against legends and winning over ropes. Well, it's just a day at work. So I think he'd already worked that day. I think it was a 3-match day for him, and I was only lazy enough to get to 2 of them. Sorry about that, Mike.
Let us know your thoughts on that, by the way, and what Mike Bailey dream matches you'd love to see in the comments section below. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And if you want to check out this morning's news video, it's available right here. We'll see you tomorrow.